Hi. Sorry about the glare there. I put the flash on. I was just watching Snowwalker 13's thing on his ditty bag and stitching construction and whatnot, and it crossed my mind. This is a topic I really haven't covered much. I mean, it's obvious that I make my own things. This is a frame bag. I'm going to be putting in my front triangle frame there. Some other guys on the bicycle touring pages on Facebook have got that buckle-on top board that's reinforced with a metal bar and a file, actually. It's a safe spot to hide the file. But one thing he was covering in his ditty bag thing, and it never really even crossed my mind to even bring up before, was certain tools for sewing. I mean, I've always just taken it for granted. I know, I'm sorry, I'm blonde, but here you go. Anyway, as an example, I mean, this is what you would call, I guess, a prepper's kit or a traveler's kit or whatever. Shit, I can't open this thing one-handed. Anyway, this is my needle case that I'm having a hell of a time opening with one hand. But to give you an idea, screw it. Let's just abbreviate that little bit of frustration there. This is a harness needle. This is a triple-aught harness needle. I get them in leather stores, and this is Nyltex thread, which is of course buried. This is a heavy-duty nylon-based thread that is used for leather sewing, like this. I made this thing earlier this year. To hold my needle case, my Leatherman. There's a spare tool in there for it. My old Schrade holding steel, and of course this little bugger. But yeah, back to the sewing kit tools here. Now my tools, because I've been doing leather work and whatnot for 20 some odd years, has expanded notably. There's some Sam Brown buttons, some old shoemaker's awls, toe box stretcher. If you can't tell, I tend to center around shoemaking. Here's an awl that I had to make out of a caribou antler tip, and the awl blade that came with an antique set of tools I got online, eBay, I know, including this bugger, which I had to make a sheath for as well. This is a shoemaker's knife, which is essentially a straight razor blade on a fixed handle. Yes, I have mangled my hand several times with that damn thing. Anyway, there's a skiving knife. As vicious as it looks, it's actually just for cutting angles into the edges of leather. Almost doing this blind here. A little finger corkscrew pull for pulling off soles for resewing, wax, threads, whatnot. And I have a lot more tools than this. My toolkit alone is probably about almost 20 some odd pounds. But I just realized, like I said earlier, that I'd never really gone into many details about my tools and the why and how of it, if you will. Something stuck to the bottom of the damn magnets. Anyway, excuse me, coffee. My drug of choice. Anyway, my entire needle kit that I can't seem to open without putting the damn phone down is literally a grouping of two different sizes of harness needles, which were only two different sizes because of weird timing and luck with the shop I was going to, and a couple of Glover's needles. I don't carry sailcloth needles. I don't carry. Basically, if they're all that big, I don't see the need or point. The triple harness needles, like what I showed you a little bit ago, these things are more than tough. I've actually been surprised when I managed to snap about 5 of these in the last, 15, 20 years. I've even bent these things with my pliers to make kind of a suture needle out of it. Because like when you're mounting these buttons, for instance, the eyelet for it is so deep inside the concave of the button that you need something that hooks through like that so it doesn't get locked on the frickin' ridge of the damn button. But I mean, you can go full-on Magilla on your sewing kit, like I did, but it is by no means required. That it looks like, I thought it was blood. Anyway, your sewing kit can be as, I guess the best way to describe it is have a sewing kit that matches your skill sets, and more to the point, your intentions of what you actually intend to make for yourself. If you are planning on making your own shoes, clothing, bags, whatnot, fair warning, the tools are extensive. It'll make for a large kit and bulky and heavy. but you'll be able to make about damn near anything except for a bicycle or a Ford. But at the same time, I mean, the drawback is you have that much more to pack. To give you an idea, on that bicycle with the trailer and pannier, etc. ad nauseum, I'm pulling that payload well over 300 pounds. It makes life difficult sometimes, I'll tell you the truth. But the difference being is that when I'm settled down in camp, I'm good. I got a canvas tent with a wood stove, wool blankets, and a goofy dog. Hey, Grant. There you are. Once again, I apologize for the flash. Apparently, the phone's kind of slow on the compensation there. But, yeah, if you want a basic kit, I mean, something along the lines of this, what a lot of, trappers and trekkers and even a few preppers are keen on doing, a small kit involving a handful of harness needles and glover's needles. The reason why I bring up the two is that harness needles are not sharp. They're designed to follow the hole that the awl makes. The awl is sharp. Believe me, I can tell you, wow, shit hurts. But the glover's needles, by comparison, when you're working with, say, just cloth, not going through leather as well, are really ideal because it frees your hands of needing to use an awl as well. And you can just sew the cloth together, blickety-split, and considerably faster as a result. When you're working with leather, you want to use an awl just to keep your hole straight, if nothing else, and keep yourself from swearing so much that, grease flinch at you. And then, as a result, you want to make sure that you're using harness needles, which are dull enough that they won't make another route as you're trying to put them through the holes. Just kind of a heads up, this is my version of a DIY, which is more convoluted than Bill Gates' business practice, but it gives you an idea. Once again, a cup of coffee. Excuse me. And, I mean, if there's any questions, I mean, I can tell you for a fact that some of these tools like this, I bought it at a leather shop. It was $10-15, what the hell it was. The awl blades, the toe box stretcher, the scribe, the awls, all those I got in an eBay auction for about $17, believe it or not, about 6 years ago. Where you go and how you get them is really up in the air. eBay is a really good source, if nothing else, to get an idea what the hell you're looking at, and more to the point, in some cases, what it's actually called, so you know what to look up. Believe it or not, that's actually half the argument sometimes. I'm really bad at this, and I do apologize. But as to technique and design, sometimes that's really up in the air. This thing I literally mapped out by putting a piece of box behind my frame. And I literally drew around the inside of the triangle, and that was my rough template, and that's what I'm going from, and it may actually be the wrong size. Hi, Grant. Talk about trial and error. Anyway, but I've already posted pictures and videos about this before on Facebook, and I'll probably be posting this on Facebook as well. This is generally for the YouTube crowd that I've started to make buzzard circles around, and hopefully someone will find this actually interesting and or informative. Cool. Bye bye.